Let's go in now the K-Wave News Zoom room where Speaker Therese Terlaje is standing by with Sabrina Salas Mantanani, who's on home quarantine. Good morning, Speaker.
Good morning. Good morning.
So I'm sure you know the discussion this morning has been all about this meeting yesterday with the governor. I'm pretty sure you caught most of the discussion. Then we also had Senator Brown on earlier about this whole issue with the Chamorro Land Trust and Jack Hattig. So I'm not sure where you want to start.
Well, I really wanted to. I've heard some of the discussion this morning, but I thought that there were some maybe inaccuracies that I wanted to make sure I put on this forum. That first of all, this kind of implication or implying that the legislature has not been transparent, I think is absolutely false, because I think we are the branch that put our plans in writing, that put them out to the public the same time that we gave them to the governor, that has been able and willing to go on the radio and discuss our plans in detail. And I even jumped on a press conference that the congressman was having yesterday, where he wanted to go item by line item, and I just heard about that at the last minute. But I feel like if anyone wants to, talk about our plan, I want to hear it face to face. I want to be able to understand what their criticism is, and I want to understand, which parts of it they agree with. And that's my intention, and I think all of my colleagues' intention in meeting with the governor. And we want, we did not have a plan from her, and we still do not have a plan from her. And I think that has to be very clear. So it's not that we are giving her a pass on giving us giving us a plan. We have absolutely, asked her, how is this plan going to be transmitted to us? And she said, I was the one who asked that in the meeting, and she said it will be transmitted in the same format as the CARES Act expenditure plan was funded. And we asked, actually, to be honest with you, Chris, I was surprised at the press conference that took place after our meeting, because there were some details that came out of that press conference that we had not even heard during our meeting. And I would have gone to that press conference if I had known, because I am trying, as a Speaker of the Legislature, to be involved in this process. I want to make sure the legislature has a say in a process that they have declared, untouchable, beyond our control, and not within our realm. And I absolutely don't agree with that. So I am going to make myself available, and I'm going to meet with everybody and anyone in this administration who is willing to discuss these plans. And that's what I want, is because as we've always said, if we can't, address them directly one way, we're going to address them in the budget session, in another way. And so they're very, very relevant to our work. And I am not going to, not participate. And I've seen this, I think it's very normal for Congress and the president to have meetings. I think you've seen even, Senator Moylan, who came on earlier, we've seen him have his own meetings with the governor. I have no idea what they discuss in those meetings. I have no idea what any individual senator discusses in meetings with the governor, or meetings with their constituents, or meetings with other senators. All of that is part of this process, and it has to occur. I mean, and what I wanted to make sure happens is that I am being sincere, that this is what we think our priorities are. We want to move forward in getting these implemented, and I wanted to hear face to face with the governor whether those are her priorities as well. And as I said, when I came out of the meeting, all we had was pretty much we agree with your priorities. This is in line with our administration's goals, but no details. And so I very clearly asked for the details, and I told you afterward, I agreed in advance to talk to you immediately after the meeting and tell you, my response to it. And my response was, we're waiting for the details, and we want to see the details. And I think that's really all that, we have done. And there's nothing, I think, that the legislature has done that has not been transparent. Yeah. It has been, I think we've gone out of our way to try to be as transparent as possible, because as you said earlier in your program, we have made calls, and specifically me, I have made calls for transparency by this administration because of what happened in the last process. And I don't want to see a repeat of that, where we get the CARES expenditure plan pretty much after we've already, determined what the budget's going to be, and we can't. No, I am hoping for a new process, and in bringing all the senators together I am hoping that that's a message to the governor that, we are serious and we want to see your plans and that we are serious about getting these priorities implemented. And so, again, I want to commend the senators for their willingness to unite in that effort.
Madam Speaker, I mean, we did kind of throw the shot at Senator Moylan that next time he does have a meeting with the governor to stream it, because you're right, it is a little bit ironic that he was calling out this meeting for being a closed door secret meeting when he's had closed door secret meetings, or closed door, whatever you want to call it, meetings with the governor on a one-on-one. And yeah, you guys' plan was in writing, and I think earlier in the show we did say that there were bills that you guys passed which basically called out the administration for not being transparent, for not being accessible, which is why this meeting, and I understand it happens all the time, but anytime you got 14 senators in a room with the top 2 highest elected officials of the land, I just kind of feel like baseline, it should be open to the public. But, I don't know whose call that was, whether it was the governor's or the legislatures, but I think
it was the governor's. Right, it was not our call. Yeah. It was her invitation to us, and she sent them individually to every senator to meet with her. And so every senator had the option whether to go or not to go. And I think it's very clear. I don't think anyone had any expectation that there was any bill in front of us that was going to be acted upon. We don't do that. And the open government law is very clear and recognizes that the legislature, they act in session. That's when our vote is going to be made. That's when our deliberations are going to be made. And that's, those are absolutely going to be held on as open as we can. And we have, again, gone out of our way to make sure that we hold those as openly as possible. As Speaker, I have tried to ensure that we have as much debate as any senator wants on the session floor, and that none of that is cut off or anything. So when we move forward, when the governor, finally has a plan and puts it up front for the people, that of course, if we are going to act on that, those deliberations are going to be open. If we're going to meet with her and let her tell us, thank you for your plan, I agree with you, I'm not the one making that call. I have no objection to the media coming in. As I said, I wish I had known about the press conference afterward, because the question and answer session was more than really, we were not in a question and answer session necessarily. We were just, I think what Senator Ridgell said earlier, the governor acknowledged that she received our plan and that, those were consistent with her goals.
Yeah,
and we were allowed to ask a couple questions, especially me as Speaker. I was allowed to speak. So I just said, thank you. And I asked a couple of questions as to how her plan was going to be submitted to us. When would we see that? And, we got some vague answers, but I think you got some information in the question and answer session that actually
and that's what I want to get to, Speaker. It's like what and we talked after the meeting, and it was clear that there wasn't a lot of detail in that meeting. But the more detail I got in the press conference from asking the questions, it really seemed like a departure from what you and the minority leader were saying. You guys had come out and said, yeah, she supports the RISE Act. The governor was very muddy on, what she even intends to do about the RISE Act. I mean, she was saying, like, yeah, I support it, but government employees aren't getting paid, retirees aren't getting paid. She also brought up the whole $200 million for the new hospital when she said that she wants, $300 million. And so, yeah, I felt like there was a lot of information that came out afterwards in the press conference that, like, if you guys had had that information before the meeting, it would have probably been a totally different meeting.
Of course, that's what I'm saying, and I agree, and that I don't want to see. I don't know. There's a strategy sometimes of some people get information, some people don't. When we wrote back to the governor after she asked us for a list of priorities, one of my concerns was that we had heard from different government entities that they were being promised money by the governor, and we were not privy to those promises. And we wanted to know exactly what promises had been made. We never received a response. We did not receive a list of promises that had been made, but we hear about it once in a while in proclamation, addresses, or during, some other media conferences. And so I am trying to learn about those as much as possible, but they're not they're not written down in any format that we can access. And so we are trying with the information we have to put some parameters on this. And I think that is the benefit of our plan being upfront, being, on the table, and being something that I'm hoping the media is going to help us to, hold them accountable on. That if they said they are consistent with her goals, that they really are. And she never said to us that she's not going to implement that rise. And in fact, she mentioned it as one of the things that, she agreed with. So any delay in that, especially after she announced that we're getting the money in about 4 days, that's the cash. And I think they were clear in your press conference that there's no impediment to them spending it after that. And so we expect them to go, to move forward. And again, I don't want to see, one senator pitted against another in this process, because then we will not be able to hold the administration accountable, for use of these funds. It's going to take all of us united on these are the priorities. Secondly, on we are going to have oversights, and thirdly, that if any bill is going to move forward, including a budget bill, that we are going to make sure that we have accounted for that money as well. It takes all of that to have influence on how that money is going to be spent, and that the procurement on that money is going to be, according to the laws of the land.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Speaker, but it just sounded like this was just a big waste of time.
Well, it was her invitation to a meeting, and I am, like I said, what her agenda is at the meeting, or what, whether she had a plan ready or not, it was not in our control.
Yeah.
And what was in our control is whether we are going to respond to a meeting with the governor. And I'm always going to respond to a request for a meeting with the governor, because I believe that is, when I say we want to collaborate, I want to collaborate. I want to know what her issues are with our plan. I want to know, if she has a total other way of how she's going to deal with this money. And I want to know how transparent they're going to be. Absolutely. So
yeah,
it's not a waste of time if I can find out any information. Yes.
Right.
I guess what Bree means is that it sounds like, I mean, I don't want to say dupe.
No, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
but
it sounds like she went in.
Why would you go there just to say, yeah, this is great, thanks, it kind of aligns with my plan?
Right.
I would have been like, so what is your plan?
We did say that, Sabrina.
Yeah.
So when are we going to get your plan, and how will it be, transmitted to us? Because it was obviously not being transmitted during that meeting. So yes, of course.
Was anybody taking pictures or video during this
I saw
meeting?
one person with a camera. She had allowed one staff each, I think. I'm not sure, because it was not me. All I know is that one of my staff was able to come with me. And but I only saw one person taking pictures. I don't recognize where that person works. If he works for the governor, works for but there was no like posing for pictures or anything like that. And as far as I know, not with me anyways. But I went straight out of the meeting and to talk to the media, because I had made a commitment to
Thank you for that speaker. And just going back to like the duped thing, it's like, so you guys had this meeting with the governor, and we had you on going into it. You're right. You'd always make yourself available. So we had you on, and you said that you felt like it was genuine. And then I interviewed you after the meeting, and it was very positive. I mean, both you and the minority leader were very optimistic. But when we got in with the governor, it really started to seem like towards the end of the interview, she was right back at that. Well, yeah, that's their plans, but it's my call at the end of the day, right? And it was
she's always made that clear.
Yeah.
And I said, I am trying in every way possible to be creative about how we are going to work around that. That insistence that it's her call, and I think. We are going to do our best to do that. And I think that's what we are doing. That's why we are all coming in together for a meeting, because we are showing her that we all are interested in this. We are willing to do, whatever hoops she wants us to jump through. I'm going to do that, because I want to know the information, and I want to be able to apply that information to the public, right? And I think that's how we are going to succeed, is taking whatever information we can learn and transforming that into, is this really going to be aid to the public? Is this really going to happen? And like you said, if we find out later that she's not going to implement the rise and all of that, we have a million questions, and we have a million questions, really. I'm sure every senator has questions about that now. But we want to fund other things, but she's not saying where in our plan then was she cut in order to fund these other things. For example, the airport, or to put the 100 million more towards the hospital. Where is she going to cut 100 million from the priorities that we've laid out? I want to know all the answers to those questions. That's reasonable, but that was just not, like I said, that was not our meeting. That was a meeting called by her, and I am trying to do what I think a speaker is supposed to do, and that is, if the governor calls for a meeting, I'm going to meet with her. I'm going to hear where she's coming from as much as possible. I'm going to ask questions, and I'm waiting for her plan, and I'm waiting for those details, and I expect that to be transmitted to all members of the legislature. I want that to be open. I do not agree that those things are going to be dealt with in some back room between any persons. And so that's my goal. And I am looking to my colleagues to help us to this time have a bigger influence, with the help of the public, with the help of the media, on how these plans are going to be spent. And I want to say, now that we have guidelines, and I'm grateful that the congressman went through and pretty much matched up our plan with the guidelines. There are very few things that we are not allowed to do under our plan. And there are things that she's talking about doing that, may be allowable, but they're not on our plan. And I heard this during your press conference, Chris. So I think, we have a lot of work to do. Yeah. But again, I'm not going to throw out collaboration. I think it's really a goal. And I'm telling you, if someone's not sincere in collaborating, then, we are going to have a contentious budget like we did last year.
Right. Yeah.
And I just don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's in the best interest of the public here. Now Guam has all this money that we can actually take care of things. We should be, clamoring on top of each other to see how fast it can get done, as opposed to, let's make obstacles, or let's divert it to other places, or take care of anything else. And that's what I'm hoping for my colleagues to stick together with me on this, because it's the only way. If she sees that she can divide us, or anyone can divide us, then that will not work. It will be, again, just one person versus, an entire.
It's just frustrating, Madam Speaker, to come out and to hear you and the minority leader say, "Yep, RISAC, get that done, hospital done," and then to go to the governor and she's like, "RISAC, no, I don't." You know what I mean? Because it means that we got double the work now, because now we got to go and ask you, like, "Hey, she's really iffy on the RISE Act," and then, you know what I mean? So when you talk about,
what I'm telling you is, I'm trying to give you information that I think media can use. Yeah. That is, if the cash is coming in 4 days, and she agrees with the RISE Act, and she wants to add more, then she can at least do the minimum, right? And that we should be finding out in 4 days or 5 days whether that is going to be paid or not, and why not, if she agrees, right? What is the delay in paying out the RISE Act payments? If she wants to add more people, she's going to have to find a mechanism to do that. We have a law in place that says this is how it's going to be done. If she has another way to give more people, that's up to her. But there should not be any delay, because the money's in, the law is there. She said she agrees, and so for me, that's really the takeaway point, is that we've got an actionable item on the table, and we are looking for the action on it. And I'm going to, of course, be diligent about that.
All right, let's get into this Tremor Land Trust Commission stuff before we let you go, because we got a few minutes left. So Senator Joanne Brown, I'm sure you heard, also the governor's comment during the press conference. Oversight hearing for Tremor Land Trust Commission and the issues surrounding the land agent's accusations against the former administrator. Yes. Are we going to have one, or just what's your response to Senator Brown's comments?
Yes, well, of course, I agree with Senator Brown that we need to know the answers to all those questions. You know that, Chris, that I am also trying to get those answers. And I have been told by the chairman that they are sending letters to me today. And so I'm going to give, I'm expecting those. So I expect responses to the question as to whether, that action that the land agent complained of had happened in any other cases. That's one, right? And whether the commission, how will they deal with that, right? Or how did they deal with those other cases? And second of all, they have already said that they've put in a process so that that cannot happen going forward, or that would not happen. And they've backed up this land agent. I want to really commend them for that. And it looks like they effectively removed the director, and I want to commend them for that. That if that's what they saw fit, that is what happened. And so, we're in a flux period right now, and I'm not opposed to any oversight, but we are in a flux. They lost their director and so I am waiting for their responses in writing, and I will definitely determine as, what is going to be included in this oversight with the CLTC. Also, I have forwarded the allegations that Senator Brown has made as to forgery to, or I haven't sent that letter yet, but it is prepared and going to General, forwarding the allegations to him. It's this is a criminal allegation that they are
Madam
making.
Speaker.
I want him to investigate it and take appropriate action. And that's what I think should happen with the forgery. And as to, of course, how they're treating cases going forward is absolutely. And we've had many oversights of Chamorro Land Trust over the past few years. I do not hesitate to have those, and I will determine what is necessary after I receive these letters from them.
Right. Madam Speaker, could you just, because you cut off there, you're going to forward the allegations of forgery levied against Jack Hattick to who?
To the Attorney General. Because they're criminal allegations, yes. So I want him to make a determination, and I think it's appropriate that he does, and that he take appropriate action if he finds that that is indeed forgery.
Okay. Well, thank you, Madam Speaker, for jumping on. Really crunch for time right now, but appreciate it.
No, thanks
you too. Speaker.
Of course.
For continued discussion on these plans. I think the more that the media discusses it, the more the senators are willing to come on and discuss it, the better. And I think that's a good thing. So thank you again.
Thank you,
Take
Madam
care.
Speaker.
Thanks. Good luck.
All right.